have right now. They've made headlines. The defensive linemen that are already in Pittsburgh have had good OTAs. DeMarvin Leal, I think, was the biggest name. Larry Ogunjobi, I think, would follow, but let's start with DeMarvin Leal. Slimmed down from 310 pounds to 290 pounds. I mean, last year played probably every position along the defensive line. I think that the expectation this year is that he'll play pretty much strictly defensive end, maybe a little bit of defensive tackle, which is essentially the same thing in Pittsburgh. Do you think that's better? You look at this guy, you expect a bigger year two, or does the slim down, maybe trouble you a little bit?
I'm waiting to see/hear the plan for what Leal is what they want Leal to be. Like, I think that it seems like he may just be like a hybrid type of player and maybe not like a full-time 3-tech or a full-time edge. Maybe he's just a guy that they feel comfortable moving around or being a little bit of a chess piece. We'll have to see. I mean, I'm open to, ideas. The thing with Leal, right, is he was 280 at the combine. He tested poorly. And, I think the common thoughts around, draft Twitter and everything else was like, well, he needs to put on a little bit more weight and just become like a 3-tech. And that was fine. I think that was the best case scenario for him developing into a full-time player because he's not explosive enough or athletic enough to really play like edge, especially like 3-4 outside linebacker full-time. Like, you just look at the testing numbers, they're just not in his favor. I mean, he ran a 5-second 40-yard dash, a 1.7 14-yard split, 28 in the vert, 106 in the broad. I mean, those for edge, like, that's just not typical numbers that you're going to see from like a starter. Now, the thing with him, going to 3-tech was always like he was top heavy. Like, you looked at him on his college film. He just didn't have a lot of sand in his pants. Like, you would see doubles come his way. He would just get blown off the ball. Even like sometimes like base blocks, he would end up 4, 5, 6 yards down the field. And we kind of saw that a little bit too, like last year in his rookie year. He was a solid run defender as an edge rusher. He made some really nice plays, I thought, setting the edge. But he was playing at 300-something pounds. Like, there are no 300-pound edge rushers in the NFL.
No.
So he was better as a run defender out there on the edge. But the problem is, like, as a pass rusher, he's not explosive enough to really threaten like how athletic NFL tackles are. Off the edge. So it's difficult, man. I'm interested to see what the plan is with him. I'm not giving up on him by any means. I don't know. I want to see it,
Yeah. No, I feel you. I want him to move inside pretty strictly. Like, I think that that's the best opportunity for him. I don't like hybrid players at all. I just think that in the NFL, if you have more than one position, really, you don't really have a position. And that's how
a lot of guys do end up, though. Like if, like you're saying, like, they get caught in that tweener mode, and it really requires, like, those type of players, not to cut you off, but like those type of players really require really cognizant and focused and detailed coaching staff to put them in best positions to play. Like, I look at guys like there are examples of guys that are like that in that tweener mode that I really like. But there's probably a lot more of them that just don't pan out, like you're saying. Like, one of the guys that I really like is Arden Key. I feel like I've talked about him a lot on social media, but Arden Key, a thinner guy, but he's an edge rusher. But really, where he's best is like sub package football, third downs. They'll put him over guards, and he works guys inside on the interior, even though he's only like 250 pounds. But he could never survive inside, like on first and second down, because he's not big enough. He's not strong enough. But like, it requires a coaching staff to really believe in that vision and set out a vision for how they're going to use those players. And I'm not saying that Pittsburgh can't do that. It's just, we got to see it. He has to develop some type of calling card. Even when he got the chance to rush the passer, whether it be inside or outside last season, he really wasn't that effective. So like, in order for him to even be what I would call like a plus hybrid player, he's going to have to be an impactful pass rusher.
Exactly. And I don't think that, at least right now, he's not, especially if the edge, he's not. And I think that's what concerns me is, like, if he was like this freak athlete and you looked at him and you were just like, this guy is so explosive that it's hard to say that he shouldn't be outside, then you move him outside. But it's not like, that's not the case with him. Like, you look at him, you say he's got the build of a defensive tackle or a defensive end, but he played a little bit outside in college. And that's why we've labeled him as this hybrid, where I just think if you just said, here it is, they have Nick Herbig, They have Marcus Golden now. I guess if they keep Quincy Roche, they have Quincy Roche. Like they have options on the outside behind Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt. There's no need to kind of press DeMarvin Leal and force him into something that maybe he's not going to be good at. Whereas instead, don't waste year 2 of this guy before you make that decision. Just stick him behind Larry Ogunjobi, let him learn. They don't have anybody behind Larry Ogunjobi as it is. Like I think that's the other thing is you look at outside linebacker and the Steelers are pretty good right now. Whereas you look at their defensive line, Isaiah Loudermilk didn't impress anybody last season, so you can't expect him to do that this year. There's nobody else. Like Armon Watts, is that who you're banking on? Like maybe, I guess, Braden Fajoko, probably just a nose tackle. Let DeMarvin Leal be that quality backup defensive end. And I think that just makes everything so much better. And I honestly, there's a part of me that believes that that's going to happen. Like by the end of training camp, we're going to get a feel that that's where he's going to be, just because I don't know. Like I think that Nick Herbig's going to impress and Marcus Golden's going to impress. And there's just really no room for him out there. Do you think 290 is a concerning number to be at, a concerning weight to be at on the inside? I don't know what Larry Ogunjobi's at.
No, I think 290 is fine. I mean, I even thought that if he could maintain his explosiveness at 300, like that's fine too. Yeah. I mean, there are no 300-pound edge rushers. That's the thing. No. Like if he really was, and I mean, it sounds like he was playing 300 pounds last year. Like props to him, but there's nobody in the NFL that's doing that. I mean, you just can't. Nobody's going to carry the weight that you have to carry at that position. So, I mean. I just keep thinking back to like the guy that I saw at A&M, and I don't know. I think that he's a better pass rusher than he showed last season. I mean, and I even think like going back and watching some of his preseason tape, like when I watched him, I remember there was a rep against the Seahawks where he hit somebody with a cross chop. And, that was like one of his go-to moves at A&M. And I'm like, okay, like this dude by the end of the season, like he is going to get on the field because he can rush the passer. And then when we saw him and again, this is in limited time, but like we saw him get in the game in the regular season, get a couple opportunities. It was like that pass rushing bag that he had in college. It wasn't there. He didn't have a pass rush plan, didn't have any counters. I don't know. Didn't look like the same type of player. And maybe that was, playing banged up. I know he missed a little bit of time with an injury maybe in the middle of the season. Maybe he wasn't fully healthy. Maybe, and also too, this is something we talk a lot about come draft time, but everybody kind of always says like, oh, well, like when they get in the NFL, they'll put weight on him and he'll be better. He'll be stronger. He'll be better. That's not really how it works. Like you got to think about body composition, and you throw in even, let's just say he was playing at 310. Mm-hmm. That's 30 pounds, bro, from what he was at the combine. Yep. You're talking about a 9-month transition where you're going to put on 30 pounds. To put on 30 pounds of good weight, even with NFL like training programs, that's still a lot, man. Like they can tinker with guys' weight. And it's nothing for them to go, for bigger guys like that to probably go like 10, 15 pounds. But even 30 pounds, that's a lot of weight.
Dude, that's a lot of weight. Go gain 30 pounds and try to go run at the same speed. And
that's the thing. Like, can you maintain that type of explosiveness? Can you maintain that twitch at 300 pounds? Mm-hmm. That was what we kept asking this time, like last year when we were talking about Leal, like how quickly is he going to get on the field? What type of contributions can he make as a rookie? And it was, that was my thing. It's like, I want to see how he moves at 300 pounds. I thought that he carried that fairly well in the preseason, but again, what was he in the preseason? Like, was he exactly. 290? Was he 310? Like, I don't know. It's difficult to say, but he's definitely a guy that I think all of Steelers fans and everybody in Pittsburgh is going to be really, really watching heavily during those 3 preseason games. Cause like year 2, Tomlin talks about that leap. We need to see a leap from DeMarvin Leal.